If you're looking to build around this Toph on a budget, well, I have a list that can help. Hello everybody and welcome back into the fort where we make magic more accessible for everyone. My name is Tyler Saves Ya Bucks and we're talking about more avatar cards, specifically Toph, the first Metalbender. This is a new Naya legendary creature. If you're new to magic, Naya is this color combo and it does a lot of things, including artifacts and lands, and now both of those things have been paired together when it comes to this card. So let's jump right into it. This is a Pillow 14 cards for under $14 to help you get started on your very own Toph deck. When it comes to this deck, the budget is very low. I think all the cards I'm about to show you are about $7 or so. And then I have one splurge to throw in there that would still be under $14. But let's read Toph first and then we'll move on from there. So like I said, Toph is 1 red, green, white for a 3/3 legendary human warrior ally. Non-token artifacts you control are lands in addition to their other types. They don't have the ability to tap for mana. What that means is they, just because they are land now does not mean that they all of a sudden can tap for mana. There are a few ways to give them that ability we'll talk about in a second. But the second thing here is at the beginning of your end step, Earthbend 2. So Earthbend is a new mechanic that is in the Avatar set. It reads, target land you control becomes a 0/0 creature with haste. That's still a land. Put 2 counters on it, then when it dies or is put into exile, return it to the battlefield tapped. That's just a way to ensure that when you lose one of these creatures, you're not also losing access to mana, which is always very, very good. I have a Joriel, I believe, deck that is all about making lands, creatures, and attacking people with them. And that is always the concern. You send them into battle and you're like, please live. Let's just jump right into some of the cards that I think if you bought these 14 cards and one splurge 15th, that will help you build up a new deck. Or if you've already put together one of these decks, maybe this is a way to add some more synergistic cards that you might not know about. Let's get right into it with Survey Mechan. This is a 4 mana robot flyer, 1/3. It has hexproof as well. And then for 10 mana, you can sacrifice this creature. It deals 3 damage to any target. Target player draws 3 cards and gains 3 life. This ability costs X less to activate, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. It's pretty good in a lot of decks out there. If you're playing a 3-color deck like this, you probably bring this down to about 5 with your basics and non-basics or whatever, even lower in some cases. But why it's so cool in this deck is, number one, it itself is a land after Toph comes in and can metal bend that giant ship. But at the same time, that just makes all of your artifacts into lands, and they all have different names. So this could possibly be 0 mana to activate, and you lightning bolt someone, gain that life, draw 3 cards. It's a really, really strong thing to add to this deck. All Fate's Scroll is a similar thing here. It is a 3 mana rock. Taps to add a mana of any color, and then 7 and tap it, sacrifice this artifact, draw X cards, where X is the number of differently named lands you control. It just does a very similar thing, also from the same set, Edge of Eternities. And what's really interesting about this, again, is who knows how many artifacts you have on the field. And again, it's non-token, so if you have treasures or clues or anything else, those aren't lands, but we're going to look at a few more artifacts, and a lot of the deck lists out there is filled with artifacts. So who knows? This could be a draw 15 in the right game. And for only 7 mana, 8 technically you have to tap this. That's not the biggest drawback if you ask me. Elsewhere, Flask. There's something about this art that I don't like. It's like a weird something wearing a tie, but let's look past that and read. It's 2 mana. When it comes into play, you draw a card and then you can sacrifice it. Choose a non-basic land type. Each land you control becomes that type until end of turn. It's a way to give a tap ability to all of your artifacts that are also lands, plus it's an artifact itself. Solemn Simulacrum. It's a staple for a reason. When it enters, you may search your library for a basic land, put it onto the battlefield, tap, then shuffle. When it dies, you draw a card. So a cool thing you can do with this is Metalbend this guy, turning it into a land, putting 2 counters on it, and then maybe blocking or attacking, however you want to have it die. And the whole Earthbend thing is when this dies, because it's that earthbended land, it'll come back to the battlefield, fetch you a basic, draw you a card when it leaves. It's just a nice little engine, plus it adds to your artifact count. Alibu. That's it. I was like, when I read it just a second ago, I'm like, I know how to say this, and I'm just gonna go for it, and we're not cutting any of this. Alibu, Ancient Witness, 3 red and a white for a golem, 4/5. Other artifact creatures you control have haste. That alone is very strong in an artifact creature deck, but it also says whenever one or more artifact creatures you control attack, Alibu deals X damage to any target, and you scry X, where X is the number of tapped artifacts you control. This can be a huge punch out of nowhere, plus it helps you sculpt your draws for the next turns or whenever you're going to be drawing cards. Scry 5 is really, really good, and if it goes up from there, it's even better. Plus, dealing all that damage is amazing. Lumbering World Wagon. So when I first saw Toph, I think I even did a short about this. It could be an interesting vehicles commander, which I do think you can fill out this deck with some vehicles. This is one of the first ones I would reach for. 3 mana. It's a vehicle, so it is not a creature unless you crew it. It has power equal to the number of lands you control. Whenever this vehicle enters or attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield, tapped, then shuffle. It's a little bit of a rampant growth, and then it can continually do that over and over again. You can also skip that crew cost by having Toph Metalbend, Earthbend this, and turn it into a 0/0. Those 2 counters, and then it can attack without being crewed. It's just a way to get around that crew cost, but also Toph can jump in that. You know, if you have any other creatures around, you can help them jump into vehicles, and it's just going to keep getting you more and more lands because this deck is going to be hungry for mana. The Regalia. This is a card that is incredible. It's already climbing up in price a little bit, and I hope it stays under $2 because it's great for budget decks. 4 mana, haste, vehicle. When this vehicle attacks, reveal cards from the top of your library until you reveal a land card. Put that onto the battlefield tapped, and the rest on the bottom in a random order, and it only has crew 1. It's just a great way to, again, add to your artifact count, which is basically your lands as well, and get you even more lands into play right away. Salvation Engine is 4 and a white for a vehicle. It's a 6/10. Other artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. Whenever this vehicle attacks, return up to 1 target artifact card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Very powerful in this deck. Yes, it has crew 6, but when I said the little trick earlier, it works here too, that Toph can earthbend this, turn it into a land. Yes, it's only a 2/2 in that case, but it can attack through and get that trigger right away without having to do all the crewing. It also buffs up all of your other artifact creatures. If you've been turning things into lands, artifacts into lands, they're 0/0. They get those 2 counters. Now they're 4/4s with this out. It's a strong little combo. Plus, it's that recursion that the deck will probably need. It's going to be a target and enemy target number 1. I don't know. It's been a long day. Moving on to some land buffing cards, not necessarily artifacts, but working with the land sub-theme here. Embodiment of Fury is 4 mana. Trample, land creatures you control have trample, and landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, you may have target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. This deck will probably have, like I said, a lot of land synergy in general. Plus, it's giving all of the creatures and whatnot that you are earthbending and turning your lands and attacking with them. Now they have trample. I would definitely fill this deck with a lot more cards that do the whole earthbending thing, because that's just going to up your land count and turn all those artifacts into bigger and bigger beaters in combat. And this is going to help with that game plan. Divergent Growth is a 1 mana instant. Until end of turn, lands you control gain tap, add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. this could be a huge ritual. If you don't have any other ways to tap your lands for mana at the time, and people think that you're completely tapped out with your mana sources, one mana, except for one mana, of course, one mana to cast this, now all of a sudden, all of your artifacts that are lands can now tap for a mana of any color, and you can do some tricks from there. It's just a really, really cool card for only 15 cents. Embodiment of Insight. This is 4 and a green for an elemental. Vigilance. Land creatures you control have vigilance and landfall whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control. You may have target land you control become a 3/3 elemental creature with haste until end of turn. It's still a land. Adding more land creatures to the mix, and then also giving all of that. That's really good too. Giving your land creatures vigilance means that you can attack with them and then hold them back to tap for mana post-combat or on other people's turns. Tanook. Memorial Ensign. I did a video on this as well. I'll link to it in places. It's a great card. A lot of people are brewing around it, and it's really good here too. 3 mana, whenever a land you control enters, Tanook deals 1 damage to each opponent. If this is the second time this ability has resolved this turn, draw a card. You're going to be putting out artifacts. Toph is going to see them as lands, and this is going to trigger your Ensign here to ping people, draw more cards. It's going to be a very good engine in any landfall deck that can fit it, and here as well. Maria, Scholar of Antiquity, also the same cost as Tanook. 3 mana, 3/3, tap an untapped non-token artifact you control, add green. Tap 2 untapped non-token artifacts you control, exile the top card of your library. You may play that this turn. It's a little bit of card draw and a little bit of ramp as well, because again, it's going to come onto the battlefield, and now all of these lands that are also artifacts can now have an ability to tap for mana, which is nice, but then also you can tap both of them to exile the top card and play it if you're looking for answers in that case. I think this will be a nice pivotal card in the deck that people might look past when they're pointing removal in places, and that's what will really get them. Sylvan Awakening. Until your next turn, all lands you control become 2/2 elemental creatures with reach, indestructible, and haste. They're still lands. So it's going to help all of your lands, especially if you've been metal bending them. They are 0/0s. Now they're 2/2s, which helps a very little bit, but you get that reach, you get that indestructible and that haste. This can be a game ender right here. And then here's the little splurge I was talking about earlier. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. 3 mana, 2/4. You may play an additional land on each of your turns, and lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. Now you've just turned all of your artifacts that are lands into 5-color lands. That's going to help fix your mana. And you're playing additional lands on each of your turn, which, like I said, you're going to have a deck that's probably centered around having a lot of lands into play. So I would throw this in there, because when it comes to the budget as it stands now with these 14 cards, I believe all of these, including adding this to the list, so that's 15, is about $13. So if you're, like I said, trying to build that Toph deck or trying to build up a list that you're already working on, $15 for some really strong cards that are going to be synergistic for your game plan is not too big of an ask, so you can power up this brand new, really awesome commander. Toph is a lot of people's favorite characters in the show, and subscribers to my channel already know this. My cat's name is Toph. I love her a lot, and she has a lot of the same qualities as Toph does in the show. I asked her, well, here, I'll just throw it to the clip. Toph, how's it feel knowing I'm making a video about you? Well said. See, she gives off that Toph vibe, but she is a sweetheart. You've probably seen her in the background of videos before, her ears popping up inside the fort. She's back there right now as well. So I wanted to put together a little video to help people who are really happy about this character coming to Magic as well build up a strong deck to bring to the table. So I hope this list was helpful for you. If you want to put down some more cards you would add to the list in the comments, or just tell me your favorite Toph quote, go ahead and throw it down there. It takes more than one person to build a pillow fort and more than one person to build a deck sometimes. So let's help each other out and give some good suggestions. I will see everybody here next time in the fort. Goodbye.